Hello, this is Insane Monster, and this is part 3 of What If Asta was Igneel's son. Now, when we last left off, the Asta and the Black Bulls, along with Yuno and his Clover Dawn members, escaped, where Klaus ended up accepting Yuno, even though the commoner and everything, and took an interest in Asta and Yuno's progress. Now, since Austin didn't get injured like he did before, we're gonna keep the 1 week timeline before they go to the capital. So during that time, when you get back, Asta has had enough of smelling a scent of somebody he still hasn't met inside the Black Bull's hideout. He follows the scent until he finds Henry's room. He talks with him and finds out his story about how he was abandoned by his family because of his weak body and his odd constitution to absorb magic from anyone around him. He takes the time after he leaves from talking with him to think things over. He knows that Captain Yarmy's someone to trust, and this Henry guy seems like he's trustworthy too. So the next day, he asks Captain Yarmy to come with him so that he could talk, which is when where they get to going where Asta's leading him to. He's surprised to find out that he knows where Henry is. First thing he does is tells him about him being half dragon, which surprises Henry because he hasn't seen Asta's wings and stuff. But kind of Yami kind of gets it. Sorry about that. And he offers them both a dragon lacrima. He offers Yami a shadow dragon lacrima, and he offers Henry an earth dragon lacrima. He tells Henry that this might cure him of his weak body and condition to absorb magic from others uncontrollably. If his body becomes stronger and stronger, becoming more dragon-like, then his body won't even need to reinforce itself with magic, which means his body won't have to absorb it from others at such an incredible rate. They take some time to think about it. The army takes it like he uses it on him a couple of days later after that, but Henry thinks it through. He wasn't noble, but his family already abandoned him. So he didn't really see much harm in going with this and saw nothing but benefits if it could help him with his weak body. So he took it. Asta also told him that he would come by every now and then so he could take some of his magic to try to speed the process up if it might work or not. He isn't sure about it since he's never heard of somebody having this kind of physical condition before. And for the rest of the week, he was helping Noelle with her sea dragon magic ever since she accepted the sea dragon lacrima. Now, since Sea Dragon Roar won't work for the breath attack in this one, if you've seen Black Clover at the Water Temple arc, then you know why. So we'll be calling it Sea Dragon's Breath whenever she uses the Sea Dragon Breath attack. So she got, let's say, Sea Dragon's Breath, Sea Dragon Wing Attack, and Sea Dragon Iron Fist. Some basic combat abilities. And she has noticed her senses gotten a lot stronger. So we go up until we reach the part where they go to the capital to report about the dungeon, where they meet up with Mimosa, Klaus, and Yuno. The same thing happens, but a little differently with Mimosa and Noelle, where they think that they might like Asta, but from what they know, he's kind of like their cousin, so they don't know what to do, and they just kind of freak out. And they're just looking up, what are they talking about? And so they go over to where they got to do their report, but by their surprise, they meet the Wizard King, like in canon. Talks about the spell he got, which is the Wind Spirit Sylph. So that goes the same. And pulls out his new black flame covered sword. The Wizard King is obviously interested in this and, offers it to hand him to it. But he's a little hesitant this time because it's covered in black fire. But Asta tells him, no, these black flames are more cold than hot. And when he grabs it, he does tell they're cold, but he still goes, like, hunches over because he can barely hold the thing. But he also notices that his magic's being drained from the sword as well. Now, when they go to the dinner for the distinguished service ceremony thing, some things do change a little bit. Like, for one, Leona is there. The Wizard King gave her a heads up that he'd be coming for a report, because he's just that nice of a guy. Alright? So Leona is there eating with them. Like in canon, Solace, yes. Sorry, trying to keep all the names straight because Black Clover's has a lot of characters that names are acknowledged. So Solace goes over to dump his glass of water on the well, but the glass burst with hot from it being overheated and all that. When Solace looks to see where he sensed that magic coming from that did it, he sees Asta staring him down with him saying, "Go ahead, try something, I dare you." And then he sees Leona just staring at him too. So he just backs off. So a lot of the conflict that happened in canon didn't in that instant, which is when everything just went wild and the capital was being under attack. The guy makes the little thing on the stone replicant of the capital with all the sound and the mana sensing. But before anybody could say anything, Asa said, "We're not dealing with actual people. I can smell it all the way from here. Someone's using corpses as puppets to attack us." Oh, God, it's rank. Then Asa just hurries up, pulls out his wings, and flies off. But Leopold grabs onto his leg, saying, "Hold up, I'm coming with you." Things go similar as in canon, what they split up, but this time Leona goes with Flegolion and Noel. Things go very much different, because first Asta flies up above the capital and begins sucking in all the fire that were set off around the capital, eating it to boost his power and to keep the capital from burning to the ground. Once he had that taken care of, he went over to where the strongest scent of zombies was coming from, because he figured that was probably where the one controlling them is. He blitzed right to it with his flying over there as fast as he could, dropping Leopold off near the edge, then starts hacking and slashing with his two anti-magic swords. Though with his dragon strength, when they hit him, it doesn't just destroy the magic, it frickin' cleaves him in two with sheer force. So he gets there a little bit earlier before the Rades gets close to the girl and smacks him right into the wall with the flat of the Demon Dweller sword. Rades says, "Ugh, bastard! What were you... What the..." He says that as he's trying to figure out what Asta is with those wings coming out of his back. He just grunts, saying, "It doesn't matter. I'll just kill you and make you into a nice little puppet, which is when he summons Jimmy, which is what I think that one is, the first one, and starts throwing those curse balls at him. Asta hurries up and starts dealing with them as best as he could while protecting the girl. He finds it hard to get close because he knows if he gets any further away from the child, then that thing's gonna attack her right off the bat. He gets hit like in cannon on his cheek and his side. But then Noelle covers the girl up with the sea dragon's... sorry, I'm not feeling that well today. So Noelle covers her with her sea dragon defensive magic, leaving Asta the blitz straight towards Jimmy and dealing with him with a single hit. Obviously, Hades hurries up and takes out his next pawn, Alfred, but Asta has an easier time dealing with this one, flying and dodging his lightning. He takes his Demon Dweller sword, flips it around in his hand, then chucks it like a frickin' javelin at Alfred, skewering him like a Swiss kebab, nailing the sword right into the building behind him. Rayleigh's starting to freak out, saying, "What the hell are you, some kind of monster?" Which is when, okay, forgive me for not remembering what the next puppet guy's name is, but he then summons the one with defensive magic. Asta hurries up and goes full halfway form, similar to the picture that I'm using for this what if, making it easier for him to defend, since his scales won't let those attacks pierce him. Then, with that taken care of, he bolts right to it and slams the Demon Slayer sword right onto the zombie using the magic, breaking through his defenses and getting rid of all of the magic that's inside of it. He hurries up and takes the Demon Dweller sword right out of Alfred when he's stuck in the wall with it. And he's getting pissed. But before he can do something too radical with beating him to a pulp, Figolion steps in saying, "That's enough, Asta." Asta turns around saying, "Uncle," which is when Figolion uses those lion paws to restrain Rades. Same thing happens in canon where they see the one page in his grimoire. But when that happens, other members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun shows up, and Figolion is taken before Asta could do anything, and started getting really pissed. With Noelle, Leopold, and Asta being surrounded, they started to attack. Asta uses Fire Dragon, Roar, and Noelle with her Sea Dragon Breath. If you don't know why I'm calling it Sea Dragon's Breath, then I already told you, so just whatever. And Leopold using his Spiral Flames. But then Figolion ends up sewing back up through another portal with his arm gone. Leopold is just stunned. Noelle tries to hurry up and stops the bleeding and making a Sea Dragon's lair to defend them. Asta just has a blank stare on his face. He goes over to Figolion with fire blazing in his hands. He says, "Noelle, move, please." He takes the fire in his hands and cauterizes the wound of where his arm's missing. If you don't know what that is, he's basically burning the wound closed so it doesn't get infected and he doesn't bleed to death. Then he opens his grimoire and uses his spell, Fire Dragon Creation Healing Magic. Fire Dragon's healing embrace, which it covers for the going on, healing him. Then Asta just turns around, takes both of the swords in his hand with the same mode that you see in the picture, and his flames are just bursting so much that it disperses the Sea Dragon layer spell that was defending them before the root guy could absorb the magic in him. Which is when he just goes full on crazy on them, breaking bones and stuff, and can even smell the spatial magic user. Sorry. And can even smell the spatial magic user underneath the corpse and go right for him. He gets away at first, but when he pops up again, Asta hurries up to the roof and smacks him in the side, breaking one of his arms. But everything going pretty south already, they thought that they should retreat. But then the spatial magic user, I think his name... Dang it, I don't remember his name. I'll look it up later. I'm sorry, but he says, "No, the master said we have to take that one alive." But before anything, the other magic knights come back, with Nozel using Rain of Silva like before, but Sally blocking it with her gel magic amplified by a dark magic item. They were able to get away, but they weren't able to grab Asta this time because he is just raging with fire. But when they got away, Asta was even madder. He started just yelling with fire getting bigger and bigger forming around him. Which is when Leona covered herself in flames and went right into Asta's flames. She grabbed Asta from the back of his head, and put it into her shoulder, saying, "You did good. You drove the enemy away, and you helped save your uncle Fagolion. So please calm down." And this is with her other hand gripping in her fist so much that it's starting to bleed. Asta started to calm down, saying, "Yeah, I'm all right." And if you're wondering what was going on with Yuno when this was going on, like in canon, he was able to get out and ended up fighting the Ash Mage that was stealing people's magic. Like before, he was losing his sight, but unlike before, he had even better sense of the airflow, and he remembered what Asta said about eating the air itself to regain magic and become stronger. He started doing that while simultaneously sensing the air, being able to dodge her attacks with his heightened sixth sense, you could say. And from doing that, he began to grow scales on the edges of his face and a little bit on his arm. Though he did that unconsciously without him knowing it, and finally using the spirit magic to blast the witch right down into the building where the same thing happens with Charmy bashing that woman into submission with the giant sheep. So that all happens like in canon, which when the Wizard King shows up after getting Fagolion into a proper place to get treatment, and Leopold still does that mark thing as a vow, but this time Asta asks Mimosa and the well if he can ask him something, saying that he feels like he can trust them. With Leona hearing this, she goes along with them. And Asta offers them each a dragon lacrima, feeling like he can trust them. He offers Mimosa a nature dragon lacrima, and he offers Klaus a iron dragon lacrima. They were confused about why does he have this, finally Leona steps in saying that he is the son of a dragon. He's half dragon as it is. Though again leaving out the part about him being half elf, which they were like, whoa, Leona, you had a child with a dragon? Which is then she just says, no, I didn't. Things just kind of happen, and we ended up adopting Asta. As it stands, he's not actually blood related, but he is the son of a dragon, and I was the one who raised him. Mostly because if anybody else did, anywhere else, then things wouldn't have ended up very good. Which is why he grew up in the Crimson Lion King's squad base in the beginning. Every time he cried as an infant, his fires went wild and was going to burn the place. So I had to use my magic to contain him, while a water mage was there to give me a hand putting out the flames that I couldn't contain. If we left him in an orphanage, the place would have burned down immediately the moment he cried. And same thing goes for the Royal House of Vermilion. Couldn't let him stay there either. Which, after saying this, Mimosa and Noelle kind of had the click thing in their mind saying, wait a minute, if he's not actually royalty blood related to us, then we don't have to worry about the crush. Which Mimosa says, cross mode activated, kind of switching their head, but in the well it was a tsundere mode activated. And if you've seen Black Clover, you know that is exactly the switch that has been flipped in the well, is the tsundere mode. Klaus and Mimosa are taken aback by this, but even so, they know Asta is a great person. Is probably more noble than any actual noble or royal. That being noble as in a personality trait, not an actual title. Which they kind of think makes sense if he's the son of a dragon, since in lore and all that, they considered noble creatures. Though they're a little curious, considering that they thought all the dragons were dead. So Noelle, Charmy, and Asta go fly back. Charmy does her little cotton magic that kind of turned into a puffball going into Asta's hood. And since Noelle can't fly, Asta kind of had to carry her. Though as they were leaving the capital, there's a sudden and abrupt pillar of fire raging in the background once they clear the capital's borders. Noelle looks and sees, Asta? Is that Lady Leona? He said, yeah, that's her. Noelle said, shouldn't you go back and try to stop her? Asta just looks at her saying, you do realize that I'm your ride, right? If I go back, you gotta go back. You realize that, yeah? Noelle just has that weird thinking face, saying, and looks straight at Asta with a gloom look on her face, saying, yeah, just keep flying, and don't look back. And in the background, you hear the Crimson Lion King squad members, along with Leopold, yelling, Asta, please come back, we need your help. Which is then they get blasted with a blast from Leona, being furious about what happened to Flagoleon. And that is where I am going to end with this part of the what if, which is part 3. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell or join the Discord. Sorry if I was a little off today. I haven't been feeling that well, and I've been helping out my dad since he just got out of surgery not too long ago. So there's that. And, sorry. But the next what if I'm going to be doing is part 1 of what if Deku had spiral power, which if you've seen part 0 in the descriptions, I said I would tell the what happened to Bakugo and Deku's mom during the time when he had this power and how their powers were affected by Deku's spiral power that he gained. Alright? I am also hammering out a couple of things with that, but I will leave a link in part 0, which I would actually like you to comment on which ship you would like for that Deku what if. Just saying, because I would like some feedback on which class A student girl you think I should ship with him. Also, if you're wondering, hang on, if Bakugo and his mom's quirks were changed by the spiral energy, and if you don't know, spiral energy is the energy of evolution, so yes, I do believe that would be a side effect of being close to Deku and all that. So yes, Class 1A will have some side effects happening to them from being close to Deku with his spiral energy. Well, not close, like in proximity, but becoming close friend-wise and all that, but yada yada yada. Like I said, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and go to What If Deku Had Spiral Power to comment on what ship you want for it. And that'll be all. Thank you, like, subscribe, yada yada yada, and please remember to comment on this video as well. See ya.